Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Monster Mayhem. It was Halloween, the only night of the year when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles could walk the streets of New York City without everyone thinking they were freaks. But there was no time for trick-or-treating because a time master named Renee needed the Turtles' help. Together they chased the evil villain, Savani, through time portals, jumping from ancient Egypt to medieval Transylvania to 19th century Bavaria. Along the way, Savani had gathered a terrifying army of monsters, including the mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein, and the werewolf. Even worse, Raphael had been bitten by a vampire, turning him into a vampire. Things were looking very, very bad. Using her time scepter, Renee opened a portal into present-day New York. When the Turtles arrived, they saw the city teeming with monsters. "Dudes," Mikey said, "how are we gonna beat 'em all?" Ralph was bound with chains and had garlic draped around his neck to weaken him, but he still grinned and snarled. "Savani and my master Dracula are gonna make turtle soup out of you fools," Ralph screeched, summoning monsters to help him escape. A dark mist formed and a cloud of bats flew straight at the Turtles. "At least they're only bats," Mikey said. But then vampires stepped out of the mist and werewolves climbed over the edge of the roof. "There are too many!" Leo cried. "Move!" The Turtles and Renee jumped off the roof, taking Ralph with them. As they ran through an alley, werewolves chased them. Mikey tried to calm the werewolves with his beatboxing, but they just kept coming. "Mikey!" Leo shouted. "Not every problem can be solved with beatboxing." Renee opened a sewer grate with her time scepter. The Turtles dove in. Once they were all inside the sewer, Renee blasted the grate, melting it shut behind them. The werewolves howled. "Home sweet sewer," Mikey sighed happily as they ran down the long tunnel to the Turtles' lair. From the top of an old bell tower, Savani looked over the city. "Soon New York City would bow down to me," he gloated. "I'll turn everyone into monsters. There will be no difference between me and anyone else. Everyone will be a freak. Humans of this era have become soft and weak," Dracula sneered. "Conquering them will be easy." Savani wasn't so sure. "I still don't know where to find the Turtles' secret lair," he said. "I do," Dracula voiced it, "for I know the thoughts of every vampire ever bitten." He gestured, and April and Casey stepped forward. They were vampires too. "What is your bidding, master?" April asked. "Yeah," Casey added. "Whose blood do you want us to suck, yo?" Down in the Turtles' lair, Johnny was attaching wires to Renee's time scepter. All their time traveling had drained its energy. "If I can focus the waveform, I can sink enough energy for a recharge," he muttered. He connected a final wire. "This should put the scepter at 50% power." Johnny threw a switch. With a crackle, the scepter started to recharge. Meanwhile, Mikey searched through old horror comics for the secret to conquering vampires. All these comics agree. Slay the master. If we destroy Dracula, every vampire transforms back into a human. Across the room, Raph stared at Mikey hypnotically. Mikey! Mikey! Take this garlic off of me. In a trance, Mikey crossed the room and took the garland of garlic from around Raph's neck. The moment the garlic was off, Ralph regained his strength. He snapped the chain, snatched the time scepter, and sprinted out of the room. Leo, Donnie, and Mikey were about to chase after him, but April and Casey stepped into the lair. Our master has sent a message, April said in her vampire voice. He says there's no escape, Casey growled as monsters filled the room. You're mine, Donnie, April hissed as she jumped onto him and bit his neck. Chomp! Donnie pushed April off, but he immediately felt woozy and passed out, tossing his bow staff into the air. Mikey caught the staff and stood over Donnie, defending him against the monsters. Get back, evil Casey, he shouted. I'm serious. Mikey fought the monsters with his nunchucks and Donnie's bow staff. Leo ran up Frankenstein's chest and flipped out of his reach. Renee blasted away with her energy knuckles. This is what happens when you mess with junior assistant time masters, she shouted. Everything about her is the coolest thing ever, Mikey sighed. Donnie regained consciousness and struggled to his feet. Follow me! He led them into the sewer and closed the metal grate, sealing the monsters inside the lair. Meanwhile, Raph brought the time scepter to the old bell tower, but when Savani reached for it, Raph handed the scepter to Dracula, his vampire master. With this time scepter, Dracula said, I will go back in time to infect early humankind with vampirism. The whole world will be undead, and I will rule over it in darkness. What? Savani protested. No fair! But Dracula had no idea how the scepter worked. When he demanded that Savanti show him how to use it, Savanti laughed and commanded the mummy to attack Dracula. Smash! Dracula slammed the scepter right through the mummy, reducing him to dust. Truce? Savani said, offering his hand to Dracula. After escaping the monsters, Renee, Leo, Donnie, and Mikey had made their way through the sewer tunnels into the basement of an abandoned hospital. Donnie groaned and crumbled over. We have to stop his transformation, Renee said, and beat the monsters and get back to your scepter, Leo added. Our to-do list is full. The turtles dragged Donnie out of the hospital and pulled him into the herb shop to get some garlic, hoping to slow down his transformation into a vampire. But when they turned to Donnie, ready to drape garlic around his neck, he'd already turned into a full vampire. Risk! He screeched. Leo, Mikey, and Renee left the shop, only to find themselves surrounded by vampires, the werewolf, and Frankenstein. Good news is, this can't get much worse, Mikey said. Then Savani and Dracula arrived with Ralph, April, and Casey. Okay, I was being sarcastic, Mikey said. Renee spotted her time scepter in Dracula's hands. My scepter, she cried. Yes, Dracula said. With this, I will make all of humankind into vampires, monsters, eliminate the turtles and the girl, now! Frankenstein lumbered toward them. Frank, Mikey said, Dracula's the worst. Does he even know your favorite food? The monster hesitated. I'm your real friend, Mikey said, and I know your favorite food is Frankenfurters. Hearing this, Frank shook off Dracula's mind control. Mikey is real friend. You are not. He turned and lumbered toward Dracula and Savani. They dodged Frank's attack. Then Dracula raised the time scepter, preparing to send the turtles and Renee off to another time and place. The time is nigh for the utter destruction of... Dracula began. Woof! Dracula grunted as Mikey pelted him with cloves of garlic. Suck garlic, dude! Mikey yelled. The time scepter flew out of Dracula's hand. Savani snatched it and held it up. Prepare to go to the end of time, he told the turtles. Whoop! Leo flung a chain around the scepter. Leo yanked, sending the scepter flying. Everyone leapt for it. Mikey whacked it with Donnie's bow staff, activating it. Whoosh! A time portal appeared and sucked them all in. As they hurtled through the tunnel, they kept fighting. Frank grappled with Dracula. Leo took on Ralph. Renee handled Savani. Mikey was attacked by Donnie. Bro, Mikey cried. It's me, remember? As everyone battled, the malfunctioning time scepter whisked them to the Middle Ages, then to a dojo in the 1990s, and then to ancient Egypt. Amid the pyramids, Donnie got his hands on the scepter. Renee spun and kicked him, sending the scepter flying right into the hands of Savani. Yes, he cried triumphantly. Travel back to where I belong. Whoosh! The time scepter took them to the age of the dinosaurs. Oh, not here, Savani moaned. Even ancient Egypt, it's better than this. As the others continued fighting, Savani tried to fix the time scepter. Renee cried, Don't let Savani repair my scepter. He'll be in complete control. Leo and Renee ran towards Savani, but Mikey said, Guys, we take out the master, we free all the monsters. He stretched Donnie's bow staff towards Leo. Stake me up! Leo used his katana blades to sharpen the staff. Mikey hid it behind his back and yelled, Yo, vampire dude, over here! Dracula roared and leaped at Mikey, who hurled the giant stake into the vampire's chest. Booyakasha! Wham! In a flash of light, Dracula turned to dust. Savani finished fixing the time scepter. Now I will rule all of time in... Zap! Renee hit Savani with her energy knuckles, knocking the scepter out of his hands and setting the villain flying. Enjoy the dinosaurs, Savante, Renee called. Renee opened a time portal and everyone except Savani disappeared. No, Savani cried. I was supposed to rule all of time and space. He heard a growl behind him and turned to see an angry T-Rex. Oh, Grolk, he said. In New York City, the vampires and werewolves had all turned back into normal humans. A portal opened, dropping the turtles, Renee, and Frank onto the street. Ralph and Donnie celebrated not being vampires anymore. We're back to normal, Donnie exclaimed. Well, not normal. Renee told Frank she would take him to the future, where everyone would appreciate him. His eyes lit up as Renee opened another time portal. Before she left, Renee turned to the turtles. I can't thank you enough, she said. Renee, Mikey said, you are the most incredible person who has ever lived in the history of living. Renee leaned over and kissed Mikey on the cheek before stepping into the portal with Frank. In a flash, they were gone. How about some trick-or-treating, team? Leo suggested. The night is still young. Halloween Akasha! Mikey shouted. If you're interested in this book, all the details are in the description below.